You are now listening to Carlie's Couch.
I'm Carlie.
And I'm Lex.
In this podcast, we discuss a wide array of topics about life and how to live your best life.
Whatever that looks like for you.
Hope y'all enjoy.
Are you constantly trying to order from people what's not on the menu? In this episode of Carlie's Couch, we talk about expectation, disappointment, and letting people be.
Ooh, I would want to listen to this if it wasn't us.
Look, definitely been there, done that. Am there doing that. Hope you all are doing well. Thanks for joining us once again for this episode of Carlie's Couch.
Yeah, hyped to be here with you guys again. Lexi, how you feeling today?
I am doing good.
Was that country? Never hear that North Carolina until I do.
Throwback Beyonce. I am doing good. I guess that mean because I need to sit down and chill. That's why. Yeah, I'm doing good. How about you?
I am excited today. I don't know. I'm generally excitable, but I had like a great workout. I got some good stuff done. I feel like I'm focusing on all the shit that matters. Mm-hmm. So I always feel super empowered. I also feel like spring really just turned me up. Like as a fire sign, spring turned me up. I'm ready. All the things.
Okay. Well, good luck with all that energy. I'm looking for my next like energy boost. Cause I don't know, I get it in spurts. So when I get it, I'll be good. This week we are talking about expectations, but we've talked about that before, right? Like how to manage your expectations, etc. And in this case, we're kind of looking more internally. We're looking more at ourselves. Like, why do we do that? Like, you know, there are times and situations where people will consistently let you down, and it's like, why am I setting us up by trying to get something that I ain't never got before? So we're going to use this time to analyze the idea of expectations and use this metaphor that Carlie found that was saying, don't order what's not on the menu.
I'm going to go so far as to saying, like, also, for example, if you're going to, I don't know, the best pasta place ever, why are you trying to order tacos? So, like, it also might be on the menu, but it's probably not very good. So I'm just throwing that out there, too.
Or I would think of it the other way. Like, if you're at a taco place, why would you order like, the Pomodoro? Or try to order, be like, can y'all actually make this? And it's like, no.
You see what's there.
Yeah, you see what's going on.
You see what's up. Don't be that person.
You see the big skewer with the meat blob, like, this is what we doing today. That's it. So have you ever been in that situation or been in this space of continually expecting something from people or person and it not working out? And then, like, how did that turn out for you?
It was abysmal. It turned out terrible. Yes, I've been there, mostly in relationships, though. Mm-hmm. Like, when I'm thinking about it, like, I can think of two of my exes specifically where I really was just trying to get this certain thing or wanted this certain thing from them. It was like just setting myself up for failure every time.
Yeah, same. But I know why, and I know what that says about me. And yes, like it definitely never works out because you're just my least favorite emotion is feeling disappointed and disappointment. Like, I just hate that feeling of disappointment. And I just kept consistently like putting myself in this position, like being disappointed. And at a certain point, it's like, all right, well, you need to move along because there's nothing to gain but the disappointment. And then sometimes we like feeling that disappointment, or maybe that disappointment also can have other benefits for whatever limiting stories we got going on at the time. So that's why, like we said earlier, this topic today is not about excusing other people's bad behavior. We're not about to talk about like what the other person should be doing and why they should have did this or shouldn't have did that. But we're going to talk about managing our own expectations. So let's talk about this pattern and this cycle of disappointment. What is that? The cycle of disappointment
is you have somebody in your life and you go to them and you want this thing, or you try to, build y'all's friendship or y'all's relationship into this level, and then they don't give it to you. And then so the next time you're there, you try for it again. Like, for example, if you know that you like, or you don't know that. So you have a new friend, and let's say you're having a really hard day and you're like, oh man, I kind of need a little pick me up. I need some words of affirmation. And you call this new friend like, man, how you doing today? Man, it's tough today. This happened and this happened. They're like, oh, anyways, what are you doing later? Like, and like bypass it and just like brush off. But then the next time you have a bad day, you decide to call them again. Man, this is happening. And then they bypass again. And you're like, why did they do this? They don't care about me. And then you keep trying.
And that can happen in all kinds of different types of circumstances. Like also imagine with work, like if you had a colleague or somebody on your team and you've asked them to maybe put a report together, but the way they gave it to you was like, they just paid no attention to like how the layout was, anything like that. And you ask them again, like, would you keep asking? Like, imagine like if it had to do with your money, for example, like, would you keep asking this person or keep paying this person to keep doing this thing when they're not doing it well? And actually for a lot of people, like, it is hard to retrain / try to get rid of somebody on your team, et cetera. So that is also difficult. And it's like, all right, at a certain point, like, you're not doing that. You're giving that work to somebody else, or you're going to get it done, or you're going to look for somebody else who can get it done. So what's that about? Like, when you keep going to the friend for emotional support or any particular validation or attention or needing something from them, what's that about to keep going to them even when you don't get it? What is it that you're looking for in that point, or that you might be wanting to see happen?
I think about a common relationship example. So they talk about daddy issues, which is, anyways, funny that it's put on the person to have daddy issues, but the father wasn't there. All of that to say, like, people tend to replicate situations in their life to get the same feeling because that's what they're used to. For example, I didn't meet my dad until I turned 23, and it was on my own volition. I looked for that man. I found him. Shout out to my cousin in Google. But anyways, found him, and now we're building a relationship. And it would be asinine and ridiculous of me to try to think he's going to be a consistent father when that's just not what we have. But then it would be very easy for me to replicate the same situation with relationships with men in my life, like wanting an available man, but wanting an available man, but going after men who are unavailable, who say they don't want to be in a relationship, who say they can't be consistent, who tell me straight up, but then in my head, I think I can change them. But little do I know, I might be replicating a situation that I haven't, like a cycle that I haven't healed from.
So we might keep repeating that circumstance because we have hope. We might keep repeating that circumstance because you want to believe that the person can change. You might keep repeating this because you have a belief that, like, at some point they'll give me what I need. But when you reflect inwardly, instead of saying like, this is what I was hoping to get from them, what you just said sounds like where it might be that you're not used to people showing up. And then this is like how you can almost rewrite that narrative. Like, I'm going to get this to work with somebody, or like somebody's going to do this thing. And so in order to prove that somebody will come out of that space, that means they got to be in that space to start with. And so you may consistently be, in order to change the story, you got to find people who are in that same space as what you've experienced, or what will help you feel like like I got through this thing. Is there any other internal things that this can reflect about us?
We might be looking for validation. So like if that person decides all of a sudden that they want me and they want me to be this person to marry and all this, then that means that I'm worth it. And so I've seen a lot of people stay around in relationships for that, like thinking like, when this happens, I'll be vindicated in the fact of all this time I've spent in this relationship. And
go ahead.
I was about to say, and vindicated, and just thinking about like other ways that, and like I lost it. I'm like thinking about other ways that that can affirm who they are. Like, if I really want this person to be my friend, because if they're my friend, then I'm going to feel cool because I deem that they're successful. So like successful by association, or they have something that you want and you think if you're around, you're going to get that. And so you keep trying to get this thing from them because then it makes you who you want to be. and you feel like you might be looking for somebody to complete you, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100% to complete you and or to save you, because your worth may be based on how people treat me, or what people are willing to do for me might let me know. So yes, you may go back to that person with expectations who's never complied with them, because it'll make you feel complete or make you feel like you are somebody if they will change for you. And it also reflects this need that we have a lot of times to want to feel chosen or prioritized. Like you might be trying to date somebody who's running a $1 billion business, and it's like, I don't never feel like the priority. And it's like, yes, it's like you're not. So like, but needing to feel understood and, want to feel so important. I think that's a thing that I have experienced as a woman a lot, and that I see as a common thread with like, when women speak about relationships is, you want to be desired and cared for and prioritized a little more. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's always the question too of like, well, why do you keep wanting that from where you're not getting it? And it's so tough to deal with that, because it's really hard to also face the reality that a person does not want to change or does not want to do that thing or is not capable or willing to do the things that you ask of.
And I think we get so stuck on that certain person because we're letting their actions dictate our worth or our thing in a situation, and don't recognize that we can get all the things that we want. It's just not that person or that place or that job or whatever. And that I've just noticed that in relationships before too, where I just thought it had to be this person for whatever reason, and it really didn't.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and also, if we're being real, let's pay attention and note also that if I keep going back to somebody who consistently cannot / will not provide on the things that I expect, do I really want them? Not really. Like, it's not even about you wanting those things. It's about you wanting this person's change. You wanting this person's validation. You wanting this person's XYZ. Because it takes two people to be unavailable. And that's another big thing to recognize, is that I too am unavailable if I keep going back to somebody who's not available. And I think about that when it's like times where, there's always kind of, not always, but there's somebody who's like, they're always kind of still there. Even though, you might not be with them or whatever, but, you always still kind of maybe kind of waiting a little bit and kind of hoping a little bit. But then maybe let's say you go out with this other person. This happened to me recently, actually. Went out with a guy. And God dang it, if he ain't like hop out the car to open my car door, when he set all the plans, like good plan setter, didn't even ask, he doesn't even know I don't have a car, but he was like, all right, I'm gonna come get you. Came way down from the south to come get me, to take me somewhere. It didn't even make sense, but it was like, oh, okay. While we're out, things that I wanted to get while we're out, I was like, let me get there for you. And it was just like, in my mind, I felt so weird and bad, because I was like, dang, this is everything I wish somebody else was doing. Like, that's the thought. And it's like, but that doesn't make sense. Meanwhile, I'm like, this is cool. But also, it's like the level of attraction is like, I don't know. So now I was like overthinking, like, am I just tripping? Am I really, like I said, I wanted this, and now I see it, like, it's like something, there's always something, right? And so all of that to say, like, a lot of times it ain't even about somebody actually doing the things, because then you might reject that anyway. But it's like, you might not even be ready to really receive those things. You may be a person who needs to solve problems. You might be a person who needs to feel disappointed because now I feel better than you and you're not doing enough and I'm always doing this and that. So, like, again, all of this is for us to think about, what is it saying about me? Because you're not necessarily super Mr. Good Guy or Mrs. Good Woman.
Yeah, and I'm like, watching the video back, I'm like, oh wow, huh? Let me think about that. You didn't want nobody
neither, yeah. Otherwise, because when you really do want something, like when you really want like good workers, like it's easy to be like, I'm sorry, man, this isn't working, like, because it ain't working. Or with a person, it's easy to be like, yeah, this isn't what I want. Like, why would you be hanging on to stuff? That's all a you issue.
Yo, you blew my mind a little bit. I'm still processing over here. Like, wait, yeah. You're right. I sure wasn't available.
I remember when I first heard that. I think I probably heard that from Natalie Lou, where it was like, it takes two people to be unavailable. And in any situation where like you're not clear about what you want, like you're also not being available. Otherwise you'd be like, yeah, I want this. And they say no. And you'd be like, all right, then let's move on. Yeah.
Damn. That's two relationships then. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Relationships.
But also going back to other people, like, so also, you know, people can have bad behavior. A lot of times it ain't even them having bad behavior. They're just how they are. And you latched on to something that you knew wasn't going to be quite there. And we all have our shortcomings. So it's like, and it's funny, some of the same things I'll be like, well, you ain't doing this. Like, there's people I ain't doing that for. And it's like, but why I want this so bad from over here? But I don't even do that for everybody. So, like, when you flip it around, it's like, you get it. Like, everybody don't have energy to do all these things that you might want, or they might not have that experience or upbringing or whatever it might be. And that being said, we're not trying to excuse them if they have bad behavior, bad communication, you know, treating you bad, whatever else it is. So none of this means that you should accept bad behavior or poor treatment.
Absolutely not. And it's about recognizing that not everybody is emotionally available, honest, or reliable, and just recognizing that also in yourself, but just knowing that you really can't, you can have expectations, but people will disappoint you and will not meet them. And you have to be real with yourself to know when to move on or when to ask for more.
Mm-hmm. And that's the key to this whole thing, is deciding if you're going to keep asking for something or if you're going to move on knowing the information that you know. So we'll go back to this menu metaphor as a tool. People show you their menu, which is like what they actually offer and what's consistently available. But if you keep trying to order something that's not there, then of course you're setting yourself up. That's not fair to you, nor is that fair to that person. Mm-hmm. So what can you do instead?
You can take an assessment of what is on their menu. What have they done? What have they shown you consistently? When people show you who they are, believe them the first time, but also look at patterns. What have they actually done? What have they showed up for? What have y'all aligned on? What is on their menu is a great starting place.
Yeah, I have. So one of my experiences is like, and I'm not even a phone person like that, but if I like somebody, like I'm trying to date them or talk to them, like I like to actually talk. And like I just noticed, like all they would do is they would just text her all the time, and barely that. Like at first it was like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And then I realized, like, it wasn't just me. It's like everybody, like, they just don't talk that much. And then they just text lightly. And when I finally realized, like, you know what? I was like, okay, so that's what's on their menus. That's what they do. And I also assessed, like, what they were saying and all the things. It was cool. It's not like it was bad. So I was like, well, that's how they communicate. And I just stopped calling. Like, I just stopped doing the things. Like, okay, if this person's not doing this, then let me take my efforts elsewhere. And when they text me, I'll have a conversation with them. It's cool. And then it's like, whatever. And I also would not, you know, the thing where if somebody's like, they ask you something or say something, how if it's like you're OD and you, like, yeah, but then da-da-da-da, and then da-da-da-da-da, and then da-da-da-da. And it's like, they ain't even do enough for you to warrant all that extra. Like if they're like, okay, you having a good day? Yeah, man, my day's been great. Getting everything done. That's all you gotta say. Like, you don't gotta keep going and going and going, because they didn't talk enough, right? They didn't do enough for you to do nothing. And then so I would just kind of meet the person, because as soon as I feel like I'm doing too much with my energy, then you start feeling like the resentful, or like, all right, now I'm doing more than they're doing, and da 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 da. And it's like, no, you don't have to do all that. Just like pay attention to what they do, and then allow yourself to be like, all right, I'm cool with that, but I'm not gonna put extra effort there.
Are you recommending, or do you go by like matching somebody's energy?
Maybe yes and no, because the way some people use it is like, whack. Yeah, like you're just waiting. It's not about not being proactive, and it's also not about being reactive. So like matching people's energy sounds like I'm not doing nothing until I see what you do, and then I'm gonna do that. But I do understand. All right, you go all in, been paying attention to the signs, and then it's like, all right, you need to maneuver accordingly. Or so basically this, like to that point of, oh, let me reevaluate my energy. It might not need to go here because it's not matching, or it doesn't feel like I'm giving it to somebody who's like using that or needs that or wants that. Then sure, like you can reassess, but it doesn't make sense to wait for somebody, because everybody's gonna wait forever. Like I was thinking about this the other day too. Like guys are more scared than anything to like even holler at you or talk to you. I thought about it, I'm like, man, I remember back in the day, like you get all kind of random messages and be like, let me smell your armpits and your comments and like, you know, the niggas didn't care back in the day. And now it's like, I get it though. Cause I see all the screenshots of anytime somebody's like, have a good day, beautiful. Or, you know, and it's like, I'm like, I bet people, I feel like guys are just like mad nervous. And so you need to give them a little clue or say something. Like, it's okay to say something first, talk to a person if you're interested in them, like show the energy, and then just see like how does that get responded to.
Yeah, and showing up as yourself, because that's the only way you get to see how they respond authentically, is if you're authentically yourself. And then if you notice that they are not serving what you would like, you have to tune in with yourself and think about like, do I keep expecting something different just because I want this, or like I want them to have it, like the person who's not a phone call person, you just want them to because you want them to?
Yeah. Or just like when this guy was doing all the cool thing, I'm like, damn, like, but I like talking to you better, and I enjoy looking at you better, and but I wish you had that like I'm gonna kiss the ground you walk on mentality this person got, but they don't. So or do in their own way, but it ain't what I want. So whatever. So yeah, like if you keep trying because you want them to do something different, like that's just not even in your control. You're doing too much. Lastly, you can ask, what need am I trying to fill here? And we are also the bad guy with all of this. Like with having your expectations, you're also a bad guy in the sense that I'm going after your energy. Like when I walk in your house with a fire outfit and I'm kind of hoping you notice it or say something, like I want to take from you energy. When I text you and I hope you text back and mad hype to hear from me, like I want to take some of your energy. When I want you to open my door, I kind of want to take some of your energy. So you are taking in the sense. And it's like, okay, so I'm taking because what do I need? I need to feel important to this person. Why do I need to feel important from this person who I'm sitting here saying doesn't have what I need or doesn't have the things? Why would I be doing that? And then you start unraveling layers and layers, and it's like, oh, that's what I think I'm worth, or like, you know, and then you can kind of get to stuff. But like, you need validation, you need whatever, like all these things, like admit that that's what you need in that time. Because what I've learned too is like a lot of times instead of reaching out to take it, trying something different, even if it's just a pause and like, okay, I need this right now, and just sitting with that for a second. Because anytime you need those things, and when you need this, and when you have expectations and you're getting disappointed, that's also kind of an issue, is like needing that. Because we could be little gremlins too with the whole one to be like, you can.
Yeah, we absolutely are, 100%. Even if you're healed, we all have our own shortcomings. I think it's important to really look at and sit with, like, like I said, you kind of helped me think like, dang, I really was unavailable too.
Yeah, like when you look at these things, we ain't never like, you're not the good guy
ever.
Every time when I would listen to podcasts, and I just noticed like everything's always about like, yeah, other people treat you and da-da-da. And it's like, actually, like, you know, what's all you can do is think about what's your part. That's all you can do. And it's easier if we're talking about, especially like relationship, for example, people we are not in a relationship with yet, or like are just dating and all the things. Like I understand if you are married, or if you have this co-founder and there's relationships where it's like, oh shoot, like really got to dig deep to like figure things out. But in this case right now, it's like, all right, if you pay attention, you could keep moving on and move around and not try to stay in a space where you're trying to make some magical thing happen.
And so if you notice that you have been doing that, I think it's time to kind of stop and reflect. And like, for all of us, even if you haven't noticed yet, because you might, who are some people in your life where you are expecting something from them that they have never shown you that they will give, or never have consistently given? One
thing I noticed with that too, and I don't know if it's happened with you, is like when you just stop expecting or stop asking, or like air quote asking, where, you know, you're kind of hoping a thing and putting yourself in positions for you to hope things happen. When you stop doing that, sometimes like then you like sometimes it just happens, and then you can kind of like, oh, thank you, I love when da 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 da, like, and then you're not having to go through all the like disappointment cycle of it. But like when it happens, it happens, because these people, they're not a bad person. They don't hate you. Like they hit you up from time to time, might be like twice a year, but like when they hit you up, and it can be great. So it's like focus on what you're getting and like let that be cool. Next, you can reflect on what you're hoping to receive and why that's important to you. And a big thing I've been working on lately is not going into situations with any trying to receive, or before I go into a call, or before I go to an event or a place, or just certain situations, I'll kind of just like all right, assess like what am I hoping I get out of this, and then trying to like kind of clear that out, to where it's like I don't need anything from anybody.
That's important. And then thinking about those needs, because we all have needs, and I think that that's fine. But like a lot of times we are looking for one person or one thing to meet those needs. And I don't think that's always fair to the other people too. Like first checking to see if it's something that you can help meet yourself. If you can affirm yourself first, if you can always start with you, that's a great place. And then also looking at, your friend group and those people who are really close to you, can they also help you in certain ways? Like maybe you just need community. Maybe they can affirm you. Maybe you can tell them about your bad day, or your therapist. Mm-hmm. And like looking at all of these needs that you have, knowing that they can get met somehow, but it doesn't always have to be through the person that you want it to be or think it should be.
Yeah, when it comes to relationships, like you need a village. Like you don't need to have the one person you dump everything on, expect everything from, and they got to be your lover, friend, adventurer, this, that. Like that's why we have people. So understanding also that you could potentially be okay with who this person is, because I know I have this person, that person, this pool boy, whoever, to also handle my other needs.
Let me find out.
That was something else I was gonna say, but that actually made sense. Yeah, think about just think about what you're requesting, and think about like what would life be like if I stopped going around requesting. Oh, I know what I was going to say about that is that because that kind of happened where I was like I was going to go to something and I wanted to invite one of my friends, and I was like, I'm gonna invite the guy who be opening my door and stuff extra, because I was like, let me just see again. And sure, there was mad extra again. So I was like, and I would say things like, I was like, man, oh shoot, I didn't realize like we were going this way, because that didn't even make sense for you to come get me. It's like, that's nothing to worry about, man. It's worth it. Anytime I get to spend with you, da da da. I was like, oh, in my head, I felt kind of back. I was like, yeah, all right, maybe I need to stop. It was only a couple times, but I was like, let me try. But yeah, like go where you can get what you're hoping to get. Like literally anytime you go where you're not going to get what you hope for, you're playing yourself. And and why do you think like that you can't actually have the thing? Because you can.
You can, and you deserve the love, and you deserve the things that you want, and you deserve to be honest with yourself and those people in your life. You deserve people who show up, see you, who get you, but you don't deserve choices. You deserve to make better choices, but you don't deserve the exhaustion of always like hoping this one person will change, and you don't want to spend your life pining away for somebody who will not meet your needs.
So order what's on the menu, or go somewhere else to get what you need. And in the meantime, assess your needs and assess why you keep going back to the taco spot looking for Pomodoro.